Hey, it's me, Hrishikesh Kannan, popularly known as HrishiKay. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon now to get the latest videos and get taken into a world of entertainment, culture, sport, business, and current affairs.
My question is something that I didn't ask you when I met Richie and you for Delhi Crime more recently, when the Emmys happened, is that are you able to switch off? Because these are very heavy subjects. I mean, just like, Delhi Crime had a very heavy subject at its core, human does have an incredibly serious, intense human subject, for the lack of any other word. And when you have these intense scenes and you have these intense moments and the screenplay takes you all these twists and turns, are you able to come back and just be Shefali Shah in a jiffy? Or are people told at home in the evening, just leave Madam alone a little bit and then, she'll recover? Because it's not easy being an actor in such circumstances.
Well, DC was a different story because, I was not in Bombay. So I had the luxury of just being completely enveloped with the show. I can switch on and switch off as a person, but as an actor, I don't. So it doesn't mean I carry forward that energy. I mean, there is no way in hell I could carry Gaurinath beyond scene to scene. It's not possible, and rather not. But when I'm doing something like this, I can't help but being completely involved in terms of I finish shoot, I go shower, get back onto the script, wake up, go back to shoot, come back. So I'm just living that for that entire time. Between scene to scene, I mean, if I'm upset in a scene, for example, the last shot of the trailer where I'm screaming and I was obviously very worked up and Gauri lives in a very vulnerable and strange space, I can't be doing that once the director says cut. I mean, it's ridiculous if I went around screaming on set for longer the shot. So yeah.
Mozez, Vipul, Kirti, and Shefali, great to see you guys. How's everything? I hope everybody's safe and healthy. Family and you safe and healthy. Got your vaccines, Vipul?
Yeah. Both vaccines done, luckily. And now though is much better. We were now not shooting. So we've been shooting for almost in the middle of the second wave. So that was a scary time, but luckily nothing happened. We all were fine, safe.
Yeah, I've caught up with Shefali and Kirti, on Zoom before, so I'm not going to ask them this question. Mozez, all good, buddy?
Yes, very well, thank you. Thankfully, all safe, and we managed to finish this show in the middle of this crazy virus. So very grateful for that.
Vipul, to me, clinical trials were a predominantly Africa phenomenon. I remember a few years ago reading some very, very disturbing stories about clinical trials in Africa. And, even the WHO had made a statement on it. So, like with most things with Indians, we thought it's very far removed from our life and times. But obviously, it's closer than we think. Yeah, so let's start with the genesis of the story idea, please.
Actually, that's where it started for me also. Because I read an article about it that it went totally wrong in Africa. And it led to the AIDS epidemic because they were using the same needles on patients and stuff like that. And in 2007, I think it was banned in Africa. But we continued in India. Of course, we do not have the scale at which it went wrong in Africa. And so from there on, we started developing a story for a film. We worked on it 3.5 years. And then I realized that this subject was too vast for it to become a film. And I gave it to Mozez. I said, have a look at it and you think that we can, do something with this. And he came back and he said, yeah, it's a great idea, but we can, develop it differently for a digital. And then that's how it started. And I'm very glad that we did it and we did not stop because I think it's a very important subject to talk about. And it's a very, very engaging and compelling screening time and screening experience as well. So I think it's an important show from the point of view of the subject and its relevance today. When we started, this was, the Corona and the search for vaccine was nowhere in the picture. So our show is not about finding a Corona vaccine at all. It's about some other drug it's a drug for heart cure. So all the facts of the medical world is pretty real, but the world is fictional. And that's how we base the show. And I'm very happy that we went through the journey and finally got it till here. Now really looking forward to how audience is going to react to it.
Shefali, there are many sides to the story. I mean, one is big pharma companies who have pretty much taken over the world. Even films in the West have been made on their influence and their muscle. The other end of the spectrum is the common man, who obviously is the sufferer. Just like vote bank politics, poor people take paltry sums of money and make themselves available for trials. And then, of course, there's the doctor's point of view, which is the honest doctor and the greedy doctor. So what are the aspects that the story is approaching this from?
Well, I think it's approaching it from all angles. I think one of the main reasons why this was, the idea was initially worked on as a film and then moved on to a show is because it's so expansive and extensive that it needed this kind of film time. And it touches every topic, but at the same time, it's a 10-hour show. It cannot possibly, encapsulate everything that goes on in the medical world. So yes, there is grief, there is pain, there is greed, there is power play, there's conflict and contradiction, not just amongst people, but amongst each individual also. And it touches every single point that you mentioned, really.
So Moses, how do you direct two of the most powerhouse actresses of our generation? Do you let them be? Do you give them pointers? Do you go into their vanity and do some lines? I want to understand your process. I mean, I told Kirti this. I said, I'm just so looking forward to this because actresses feed off each other. And I have so much love and regard for both Shefali as well as Kirti. It's going to be explosive. So how do you tackle that, my friend?
I'm sure Mozez did I'm sure he did a little puja every morning before it's like, oh my God.
No, you know what the thing is, actually, it was the total opposite of that because, obviously the reason why we wanted to work with them was because they are such fabulous actresses and they were completely prepared. The thing is, we had so many, prior to getting on the shooting floor, we did so many discussions, we did workshops. We spoke at length about the script. Both Shefali and Kirti had their own feedback on the script and they wanted to change things, which we were really, really collaborative about. So it was a process that just started even way before we started shooting. And once we got onto the floor, I think everyone was really prepared and everyone knew what they were getting into. And there was no real question or debating anything or having any kind of a conflict on set because we all knew what we were getting into, and it was just there was this energy that everybody wanted to give their best to the show, and that's what both the actors came with. And I think both Vipul sir and myself, if I speak for him as well, just felt that it was actually very easy to work with them, and they just delivered every time. Like literally, there was no drama. There's a lot of drama, but no
off-screen drama.
No, actually, that was how they both will perform or other actors will perform was least of our concern, and that's why we could focus on other areas of as a director because it's such a sensitive topic and such a sensitive show that you don't want to go wrong. So we could focus on the detailing of every other aspect because we were pretty secured about all our actors, particularly Shefali and Kirti and Vishal and some of the other leading actors. So we actually were very relaxed working with them. And they allowed us to pay attention to other details without being worried about them. So I think that made the process even better for us.
But Vipul, you guys have co-director credits, right? So Moses and you are both co-directors on this. Yeah. Which brings me to my next logical questions. So Kirti, does that affect an actor's performance? I often read co-directed by Nikhil Advani and Nikhil Gonzalez, co-directed by Mozez Singh and Vipul. Does that make a difference to an actor's life? Or is it something that you take for granted and you live with?
So this is the second time I'm doing this. CJ Criminal Justice Season 2 was also a similar setup. Personally, I honestly feel, Hrishikesh, that, as an actor, I mean, of course, I'm a part of the whole show, and there is so much going on in the show, and there's so many other characters. But I think the focus is still so on yourself, that I think when you get that right, it's almost like it doesn't matter who's at the other end, because when you have got the sur right, when you have caught on to it, then it's a matter of you adapting to, okay, Vipul, so they're both very different people, right? So, but I think it would have been a problem if creatively and as directors, I think creatively, they could be very different directors. They could have their own ways of directing. But I think creatively, if they were not on the same page, it would be that would be a problem. But I think in this case, from the, we workshopped so much, we spoke about everything so much before we landed on the set, that I think whether it's me, whether it's Shefali, whether it's anybody else, I mean, everyone was so sort of prepared, and both Vipul and Mozez were so so into the script that it honestly didn't really matter, except for the first couple of days when you are getting to know each other, when you are kind of figuring each other out as co-actors and directors and everything. But also what I really like is the way Vipul also works. I think it was almost like a thing where they were not coming into each other's space, and I think Vipul, having the advantage of being the producer, could have been like, but I'm also...
He could have pulled rank. He could have pulled rank, but he didn't.
Yeah, exactly. He could have been like, of course I'm going to be around. I'm producing this show. But I think it was because he's a director, he understands how it can sort of come in the way of another director, directing his scenes on that particular day. So I think, except for the first couple of days, we were just like, then it was just like, okay, Vipul is coming in, so what he brings in as a person and what Mozez brings in as a person. So we were just adapting to those energies, more than, so the director energy was very much in place, but just the individual energies is, I think, what we were adapting to when they were shifting from one director to another.
Shefali, I completely agree with Vipul when he says that, he envisioned human as an OTT series. I can't imagine it as a film. I mean, the subject is it lends itself so beautifully to the digital world. I'm so glad that you have 10 hours to develop these wonderful characters. My question is something that I didn't ask you when I met Richie and you for Delhi Crime more recently, when the Emmys happened, is that, are you able to switch off? Because these are very heavy subjects. I mean, just like, Delhi Crime had a very heavy subject at its core, human does have an incredibly serious, intense human subject, for the lack of any other word. And when you have these intense scenes and you have these intense moments, and the screenplay takes you all these twists and turns, are you able to come back and just be Shefali Shah in a jiffy? Or are people told at home in the evening, just leave Madam alone a little bit, and then, she'll recover? Because it's not easy being an actor in such circumstances.
Well, DC was a different story because, I was not in Bombay. So I had the luxury of just being completely enveloped with the show. I can switch on and switch off as a person, but as an actor, I don't. So it doesn't mean I carry forward that energy. I mean, there is no way in hell I could carry Gaurinath beyond scene to scene. It's not possible, and rather not. But when I'm doing something like this, I can't help but being completely involved in terms of I finish shoot, I go shower, get back onto the script, wake up, go back to shoot, come back. So I'm just living that for that entire time. Between scene to scene, I mean, if I'm upset in a scene, for example, the last shot of the trailer where I'm screaming and I was obviously very worked up, and Gauri is in a very vulnerable and strange space, I can't be doing that once the director says cut. mean, it's ridiculous if I went around screaming on set for the shot. So yeah.
Moses, I know you're very passionate about music. In fact, I can't forget Vicky Kaushal and you visiting me in my studio, give me a lovely T-shirt of your film, which had a lot of musical memorabilia. I still have it somewhere, and I pull it out from time to time. And Human as a series, I imagine BGM and background music has to play a huge part to tell the stories in a medical thriller, in a medical genre. Who's done your BGM? How much have you worked at it? How have you used music? Are there elements of song, or is it just instrumental music? Take us through that.
Well, even if I say so myself, the music of Human is absolutely phenomenal. And the music has been done by a music director called Saurabh Bhalirao, who was found by our co-producer Ashin Shah. So full credits to Ashin for discovering him. I mean, Human is not a musical, but it has got such a strong and tremendous score that I think when the show comes out, one of the things that people are going to really be talking about is the music. And yes, there are certain segments, Saurabh has created some songs that are all part of the BGM, obviously. But the music of Human is very powerful. It's very evocative, and it lends itself really beautifully to the story. And it is definitely going to be a talking point. I'm convinced that this is one thing that is going to be a talking point of the show for sure. So look out.
Lovely.
It's something very new. It's something very refreshing. And we've all worked very hard with Saurabh on making sure that we deliver a kick-ass score for the series.
Vipul, let's talk about some of the other actors who are not represented here. My friend Ram Kapoor is around. What is he playing? He's got some interesting dialogues in the trailer. Never a dull moment when he's around on a film set. Who are some of the other actors that we can look out for?
I'm sure I'll not be able to take all the names of all the wonderful actors who have been part of the show. But of course, Ram is fantastic. He's playing Shefali's husband in the show. But we have Dr. Mohan Agashe, we have Aditya Shrivastava from CID, we have Mr. Atul Kumar, he's a fabulous actor, Asif, who was earlier seen in Mirzapur and many other shows. He's fantastic. There are these two young girls, Riddhi Dogra and Pranali Dobre. One is playing Vishal Jetwa's sister and the other one is playing a nurse. And of course, Seema Biswas is there. She is playing an incredible part.
Indraneel
is who's playing Kirti's husband, who's absolutely superb. And there are many more. Actually, the script had almost 100 prominent characters in 10 episodes. So it was one of the most challenging shows to cast. And we are absolutely blessed with the way Mukesh Chabra has cast the show for us. It's absolutely fabulous. Not just the local, actors from Bombay, but even in Bhopal, the kind of actors we got from there to play, local parts was absolutely amazing. Just to take you back to the thing that you spoke to Shefali about switch off and switch on. She's a complete switch off and switch on. Not just after the day, between the shots also. So you can give her as much heavy duty stuff to perform, there is no problem. So you can chill.
I will take your word for it.
Yes. you must.
Considering the husband speaks.
Hrishikesh, I think what he was trying to say is that between two words, she switches on and switches off, even as a person. So Vipul is like, but we were talking about something else. What the hell happened here?
You know what I'm referring to, right? Normally, when husbands speak about their wives, they're not taken seriously. So when I make a comment on my wife, I'm never taken seriously. But in Vipul's case, I will take him seriously.
Yeah, because I'm right now talking to you as the director of the show. But actually, even Kirti is the same. They both are pretty switch on and off actors, and it's fun to work with them. Great fun.
Lovely. Kirti told me, Shefali, that her character is someone who lives for the purity of medicine. And, we all understand that the medical profession today, in this day and age, throws up different kinds of doctors. I mean, the Vyapam scam showed us that corruption in the medical admission test has released a lot of ill-equipped doctors out there who are playing with human lives. And then there are doctors with purity of purpose, like what Kirti's character is. I'd like you to talk about your character. What kind of a doctor is she, without, of course, giving any spoilers?
She's almost obsessive about what she wants to do, and extremely passionate, very strong-minded. She's driven by a personal past, which determines a lot of stuff she's doing today. And what do I say about her without giving out spoil? I mean, I don't know what to say about Gaurina.
No, actually,
no, she's a very intriguing character. That much you can take the lead from there, Shefali.
Yeah, she is. She's like a Pandora's box. You don't know what is going to come next with her. She's unlike anyone I have played, anyone I know, anyone I've heard of before. And an extremely complicated character. So nothing with her is simple. And a constant conflict of who she was, who she is, what she wants to be, what her mind thinks, what her heart thinks, and then what her sense of power requires out of it. So it's very, very difficult to pinpoint or say, this is who she is. It's really not possible.
Kirti, all of this is entertainment and, bringing a story to an audience from various perspectives, which is all great. But there's also a social connotation to this. How much of human trials did you know about before signing on Human? And obviously, this must have been fascinating for you, all this material, the screenplay, the script itself, for you to unravel more stuff about the magnitude of the problem. Yeah. I know that you're socially very conscious and things like that. How much has that changed you, Kirti, as a person? And you're obviously curious to find out more. How much more have you found out to understand the magnitude of this problem? Human trials.
So the whole human drug trial, honestly speaking, I wasn't really aware of it. Like, I mean, I knew of drug trials, but they being extended to humans is just a concept. Like I had Chalte Phirte just heard of, but I never had the news like really hitting me, or me really hearing about it, very close to me kind of a thing. So no, I actually didn't know anything about it, and I think that's exactly why I wanted to take this up, because I think through my work as an actor, I like to get into worlds which I don't know anything about. And I think that's a journey that really enriches me and, makes me, I think it's a great way to study, you know what I mean? Because it's not like book ka pad rahe ho, but it's the research of the world I get into with the project that I do, the way I prepare for my character, the journeys on which it takes me, the kind of people I meet, the kind of information I get from them, how I think that's exactly why I chose this. And really, I mean, of course, as a concept, in terms of human drug trials, it was shocking. It was something that also made me feel like stupid in terms of how can I not know about this? I mean, having said that, I don't know about a lot of things, but this was one of them. And apart from that, even for me, Hrishikesh, like, I think for me, being an actor, I'm very driven by emotions, I'm very driven by the emotionality of a situation, the emotionality of a character, what it's arousing in me, what it's arousing in the people who would watch the character. So I think for me, the most beautiful thing is to, talk about subjects through emotions, because that's when your mind stops working. And when something hits you in your heart, however hard hitting it is, and however gray or dark it is, you are open to it. Suddenly your mind has stopped working, it's not coming in the way, and you can receive so much in that moment. So in that sense, when I started work on even Saira as a character, I mean, whether it's the part of her playing a doctor, different sides of being, of that world, and there's a very big side to Saira which I clearly can't talk about before the show releases, but everything about that, it just put me in touch with so many people and with so many sides of a human being, that I think that is what really, I mean, one thing is to know about human drug trials, but another thing is to, through your character and through what you're doing, to kind of just know the it makes you clearer about the right and the wrong, the black and the white and the gray, and how I think it just, all I care about honestly is for me to become a better human being than I was before I started a project, and through my work for things to go out in a way that makes people want to be a better person. So while people may look at human and say, oh, there's dark stuff or there's gray stuff, but my thing is to show you the dark so that to just be aware. It's more of awareness. I think people get very scared of the dark. People get very scared of, oh, this is not. We almost deny the existence of dark and gray in the society, and forgetting completely that that's exactly what we are made of. So denial is not the way. Being fearful of the dark is not the way, but going into it and knowing how not to be dark, how not to do something. So it's like, this is who I want to be, but also to see something on screen and be like, what, I don't want to be, I may or may not be this, but I don't want to be this for sure. I think so I think it's very, I really like pushing the envelope. I really like telling stories which make you uncomfortable as a society, as an individual, because I think that's where true growth and evolution lies.
Okay, I've run out of time. So my last question is actually to Shefali. This is a social service campaign that I'm doing called Climate Warrior, where I'm saying segregate your dry and wet waste, stop using single-use plastic, let's clean our beaches, look at Delhi and the air pollution there. What are the Shahs doing at a small level to save the planet, Shefali, if I can get a comment from you?
We're tying our children up and keeping them in a toilet so that they don't get out and pollute and mess up the world. So that is what, jokes apart. But of course, the dry and wet waste, I think that happens in every house. And plastic, I mean, that happens in every house. Vipul, what else do you do here?
I'm very obsessive about the usage of petrol and diesel in the cars. I don't like to burn the petrol and diesel. Water consumption is something that we
water consumption.
We definitely try to make sure that we're not standing under the shower and wasting tremendous amount of water. We try and conserve it as much as we can. These are the two of the most important things that we do on a daily basis. Plastic use is something that I very strongly try and avoid. Those are some of the most important things that we do.
Lovely. 14th of January, streaming on Disney Plus Hotstar. It's human.
Can I say one last
thing? Yeah, sure.
While we were all talking very intensely about the show, and it may sound like I don't want audience to feel that it's a art show. Yes, it's not. It's a very engaging thriller which will throw light on a completely unexplored subject with most amazing actors, and it's a very, very engaging watch. Actually, a show like this, to be able to look at it and say it can become actually a big watch, it's something that I feel is our biggest achievement as a team.
Lovely. 14th of January, Disney Plus Hotstar. It's Human, the series, directed by Mozez and Vipul, starring the excellent Shefali, Kirti, and a whole lot of others. Take care of yourself. Thank you guys for the conversation.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Take care.
Bye.